So you can ask whatever you want, and I will be as honest as I always am, and forthright as I always am. You might not agree with what I say, and that's fine, but please ask away, whatever you want.
You have, looking back, do you have any regrets is too strong a word, but
No,
any regrets about the decisions you made about your retained list from last season?
No, I don't. I don't have any regrets. I think I am fortunate in that I work with the players every day, that I know them inside out, that I know medically what the dangers are with them should we give them extra bits of time, depending on age and history of injury and their lifestyles and things like that. So I make decisions on what I think is best for the club, and yet, do I get some wrong? Of course, nobody gets everything right, but you know, I think it's better to make decisions and move on than it is to worry about the decisions that you've made. I think, you know, you just got to get on with it, and that's what I tend to do. So I don't regret any decisions. I live by them. Asking about goals in the team, and do I think that there are enough goals in the team? Roy's not firing at the moment. Clive hasn't been prolific in his career, but he's more of a facilitator. That's come from the gentleman here. I'm not clever enough to come up with that. But that's the question. So the answer to what you've said is, I've worked with Roy O'Donovan, and I don't think Roy O'Donovan is playing particularly well. He's not the player that he was, that came in and got 5 goals in 11 games last year that took us to Wembley. And what has happened with Roy is it happens to all players. They go through a little bit of a confidence crisis, they come through it and they score again. Clive's a little bit different. Been very, very unfortunate with injuries, which has killed us. I think I can remember towards the end of the season talking about Platt and O'Donovan being unplayable. Well, at the moment they are for different reasons. You know, one's injured and the other one's not playing particularly well. So, and sometimes you get that, and you've got to come through it. And that's why I brought Jacob Blythe in, who did very, very well. Unfortunately, you know, he's gone back to Leicester, but he will be back. And you're right, that we haven't. I think we create enough chances. I think anybody that's been here and seen us play against Exeter and Torquay will say, I'm giving those games as example. Newport, we finished our chances. We didn't finish them against Exeter. The game should have been over. We didn't finish them against Torquay, and we ended up getting done on 2 counter-attacks. So we are creating, but we're not scoring. So I do have to address that. I do think there's goals in the team. You know, you mentioned Kelvin and Bayo. A lot of Bayo's goals, a high percentage of Bayo's goals came from our set pieces. You know, whether it be Ben Tozer's throw, who's off form at the moment, another player that's not firing at the moment, but doesn't become a bad player overnight. He'll be back. Chris Hackett, who's been in and out, you know, sent off and everything else, having been injured for a couple of games as well. So these things will all click and will happen. It's just at the moment, I'm like you, tearing my hair out, what's left of it, thinking we need to make sure that we, you know, finish off these chances, because as you know as well as I do, goals do change games. They give players confidence, they give supporters belief and hope, and if the back of the team thinks the front of the team's going to score, it makes it a lot easier to defend.